Hannah Perez, welcome to the Backpocket podcast. Let's jump right into it. We're not playing games today. Let's get into the meat of it. You just came back from a trip, doing a little van life, and you got Decky RV right here. I mean, we got to break this down.
I'm excited about that. Well, yeah, you guys saw the build out, I hope, on my Instagram. I did a 3-part series of what that looked like. I ended up building the whole thing in a matter of 5 days, and spent a little less than $150 on the whole thing. So everything stood up. Yeah, thank you. I've been known to get quite the deals throughout my life. So if you ever need a good deal, I'm the person to hit up. No, but everything worked out great. The one thing where I went wrong is the stick and peel carpet.
Oh.
I was really hoping, because I was like, oh, that would be an easy solution. It's going to be a little bit cheaper, around the same price if I would get carpet and staple gun or however I was going to do that. And it ended up peeling, but not sticking. So complete false advertisements. And I was very disappointed with that. So I ended up trying to glue all the pieces, which ended up being way more work. And so if you're looking at the peel and stick carpet, that's the one area that I definitely went wrong.
Overall, it was much better build out than the bed in the back of my car. I spent $90, but it was simply on a piece of plywood to basically set the. Actually, no, I spent way more than that because my bedding. I bought a really expensive piece of bedding from Walmart.
Yeah, I saw that bedding.
It's like $120, and I went all out. It's a 4-inch queen mattress pad, and I folded it in half. So I had that just made it. And it's really comfortable, honestly.
And sometimes you get better results from when you spend more money in terms of the comfort level, because I'll tell you what, the comfort level sleeping on that 1/2-inch plywood and some little tiny camping foam pads, it was a little brutal, but Hey, we made it happen. And it worked out great.
What car were you using?
I have a Ford Escape.
Ford Escape. And you took out the back seats?
No, so the back seats just fold straight down, so it's completely level with the trunk. So could leave the seats in. And we definitely messed around. Each day we would have to put together this thing, and then we would have to take it back apart. Every morning and night we did that. So we found 8 different ways to do the same thing. And we realized by the end of it, leave the seats down throughout the whole thing and leave the platform bed down and then put everything on top was definitely the route to go. So we lived and learned, and would definitely do a couple things different next time we road trip, but it was definitely a learning experience.
Okay, I have one more question just on the build out. Did you sleep with trunk open?
Oh God, no way. So luckily we're 2 girls and are under 5'5", so we can extend our entire length, where you, Decky, are way too long, and that would be very uncomfortable. So no, we had the trunk closed, and Delaney actually bought some screens that go over your window, so we could still leave the windows down so there was some air ventilation. But no, I kind of liked it all being in a little cozy nest.
You're in a cocoon.
Yeah, literally.
So we used we would roll down the windows just a little bit, leave an inch from the top, and then just drape our shirts or whatever over the sides for privacy. The first time we did it, we slept in a parking lot in San Diego, and it was just a brutal parking lot to do it. And it was 4th of July the next day, so everyone was parking in this parking lot at however early in the morning. People were pulling in at 5, 6 in the morning, and we just had all of our windows uncovered, and just everyone seeing us sleep was just wild.
Oh my gosh, were you scared that people were gonna come up to your window and boot you out of there?
No, but there was one point where someone at some point in the morning put a cone by our car, and then the parking police that were monitoring people coming in for the day, it's that was how we woke up, was they pulled up on our car, and I just kind of propped up and saw them. I was like, oh shit, they probably knew we were sleeping here, this is not good. And I'd locked the car previously for just because it was kind of a sketchy area. and I just like flipped the switch and unlocked the car, and they were like talking to someone right next to us, and I just set the alarm off of my car, just drew all the attention, and like I'm just looking like an idiot, like just woke up, hair's frizzed. They're like, "Is this your cone?" And I was like, "No, man, not my cone." He's like, "All right, sounds good. No cones." It's like, okay.
Oh my gosh, that's quite the story.
Yeah,
quite the wake up call.
Definitely. But the comfort thing is like such a big deal. How many days did you how many days did you and Delaney road trip, and like where'd you guys go?
So we started our trip going to Sioux Falls, where I'm from, and then spending the night there, road tripping from there to Rapid City. So here to Sioux Falls is about 4.5 hours, and then Sioux Falls to Rapid City is about 5 hours, I think. And then there we did like Mount Rushmore, everything that you can do, the Badlands, Black Hills, all that jazz. We ended up stopping. One of my favorite things was the random things that we did. Like we stopped at we saw this huge sign that said, "Feed the prairie dogs." And it was like $1 to get a bag of peanuts. And all these prairie dogs were just fed very well. You could tell, like they just loved it, ate it all up. So we ended up getting like 4 bags of peanuts and just pulling over and spending a couple hours just feeding these prairie dogs. So that was a ton of fun. Highly recommend going to the Badlands. I think they are some of the coolest, underrated like things to go see. Mount Rushmore. It was Mount Rushmore. I've been there. I'm from South Dakota, so I've seen it a couple times. But from there, we went to this place called right before there, we went to Devil's Tower. Devil's Tower is, if you've never been there or heard of it, it's just this like prehistoric looking giant rock that there's like no explanation for why it's there. There's these different stories about what it could be, like a myth about some giant bear and getting into a fight. I can't remember it verbatim, but that place was super cool. We camped like right where you could see it. And one of the nights the only night that we were there, I woke up to use the bathroom at like between 4 and 5. So it was like starting the sun to rise. And it was just like you were walking in a Jurassic Park movie. I was like, this does not feel like real life. It was just kind of eerie. So that place was awesome. And then we went to Ten Sleep, Wyoming to break up our trip between there and Yellowstone. And we stayed at this brewery, which had some campsites right then and there, which highly recommend going to Ten Sleep Brewing and spending a night there. It was awesome. You can find them on Hipcamp. Hipcamp, we also found this llama and alpaca farm, which was unreal. Like that place was a great find for sure. That also was just like a little bit south of Ten Sleep, and that's where we broke up our trip from Yellowstone back again to Rapid. And they had like 30 alpacas, like 15 fainting goats that were just so cute. Like we could bottle feed them. You probably saw my story yesterday of that. And oops, sorry.
No, that's Deck.
That's you. Camera. I was like, that's not me. And then from there, we did all the things in Yellowstone. Favorite part for sure was the Norris Basin. That place everyone should check out. A lot of people skip it, is from what I hear, but it's like this white sanded, really cool, like blue colored geysers everywhere. And these geysers, like if you've never been to Yellowstone, it just smells like rotten eggs everywhere you go. Have you been to Yellowstone?
No, I haven't been to Yellowstone.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. So it's like these geysers are so indescribable, and like pictures don't do any of it justice, because like when you're seeing it, you're like, what is this? Like, is this real life? Because Yellowstone is built on a volcano, so it has all of these weird, unexplainable things. Like even throughout the winter, these things are still going off and are still boiling hot. Like it's really, really cool. So yeah, Yellowstone was a trip for sure. Highly recommend doing those and the Tetons.
I've been to the Tetons.
Are just south.
Tetons are
Okay.
gorgeous. Yes.
Tetons are gorgeous. Yeah. What did you do? The Jenny Lake and
Of course.
Hidden Falls and that
Yep.
whole
And then we
hike?
did Static Peak, which is the big one, like all the way to the top. The longest one and highest one you can do without like professional gear.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was super intense. And my brothers and I did it in like way too fast, and I was like I was in a lot of pain for 24 hours afterwards. Like my
Oh
lungs.
my gosh.
I went up on altitude too quick, and then my legs just like gave out. We just huffed it, and we were like knuckleheads.
Oh my goodness. Wow,
Yeah.
that's incredible. I
Like,
bet that view though when you got up there was insane.
Insane. I'm not like a typical hiker like Deck. You've done, what do you call them, 14ers in Colorado. Like I'm not used to that type of like change in altitude, climbing, getting like your feet just get pounded. And you think like going up is the hard part where like you're using your quads and like you're climbing. Way harder going down because now it's like all that impact, your feet, your ankles, your calves just like give out. I'm not trained, and I paid for it, but the view of the top was worth it for sure.
Yeah, no, the view had to have been worth it. That would have been awesome. I wish we could have spent some more time at the Tetons for sure. But even after all is said and done, we spent about 12 days road tripping, and it was already like jam packed from the time we woke up to getting to our campsite. It was go, go, go the whole time. So I wish we had some more time to relax, but I also wish we could have seen more things. So it's all about give and take, but it was awesome nonetheless.
Any sneaky spots where you didn't have to like pay to camp anywhere?
Yeah, so we were actually banking a couple of the nights to do the first come first serve camping, which is all in the park. But if you download the Yellowstone app, it tells you when they usually fill up. And we were banking on a couple of them not filling up until their average, like normal time. And both nights we ended up getting to the campsite and they were full, so we had to figure out like what we were doing. And luckily, my friend from college is a whitewater raft guide up in Gardner, which is right at the north entrance of Yellowstone. And I knew she would know of a couple places. So she brought us to this like lookout spot that overlooked Gardner and overlooked like the north entrance of the park. And just in the middle of nowhere, had like a drive up for it in a super, super safe spot. But yeah, that was easily, I think, my favorite spot camping outside of, I would say, the brewery and the alpaca farm.
That's sick. Yeah. The alpaca farm sounds electric, but I'm assuming you'll voice the same recommendation, but if you have the ability to like build a little bed in the back of your car and like use that as your main method of like sleeping, or just go camping somewhere, like it's so worth it. Especially if you can find like a place that's pretty reasonable in terms of like, I would say try and find the place that's just like hidden, like no one knows about, where you can kind of camp. So I was doing the last 2 weekends, Christina and I found this sick spot in Sedona to basically park our cars and camp for free.
Did you take a video of that the other day?
Yeah, I actually sent you the Google pin because I was like, Hannah needs to see this. Like, this is awesome.
It was sick.
But so I did my research going into it, thinking like, okay, a camp spot that, you know, similar to what you and your girlfriend did, but like we got there super late. I knew the camp spots were going to be full, and so our strategy was to hit the Townie bar. I just searched like best dive bars in Sedona and showed up at like the best one or the one that looked the most divey. And it ended up just being like this cash only bar where a bunch of like Sedona locals go. It's like right behind the fire station. It's called the Sundowner. And we showed up there and just like hit it off with a bunch of people there. And then like towards the end of the night, we're like, hey, you guys know where to like park your car and camp overnight? And they like 7 of them were like, oh, you gotta go here, you gotta go here, you gotta go behind the hospital, it's the best place. So I was like, behind the hospital, okay, like whatever. So they show us like on Google Maps where it's at, and we went and found it. But anyways, dude, it was so rewarding to like actually get to that part. And it was like very rewarding to get to that spot and like not know what it looked like at night and then wake up in the morning and it's just like you're on the top of Sedona. It's the coolest. It's unreal. It was just very rewarding for the feat that we were getting after, for sure.
Oh, I love that. That's the way to go though. Just ask the locals. Locals know all the hidden spots to go to when it comes to like hiking, camping, all that stuff.
Yeah, the whole time I'm picturing as you guys are like walking me through these stories of living out of your car, rebuilding your car for a bed and XYZ. I'm picturing like, throw it back to like Oregon Trail, when the good old Americans were heading west in their what do you call those things?
Carriages.
The carriages, yes. And
good take.
And they're just, trekking through, battling through the flu and living like the
Black Plague,
the Black Plague, and but at the same time, as they're heading west, they're seeing all of this beauty, and they're like, "This is the best decision I've ever made. This is the Badlands. This is Yellowstone," and they're just continuing on and onward and going west. Yeah, that part of the country is just gorgeous. It really
is.
Yeah, that's like a prized possession in the United States that not everyone truly recognizes how like much land and beauty is out there because us three in particular, I guess Decky not right now, but being in Minneapolis, we're very urban, city grown people. I mean, I guess you're from Sioux Falls, but still city-ish. And I personally have not gotten like the full glimpse of what the United States has to offer in terms of like the national parks.
Yeah, that was my first one. I'm really hoping to do like seeing more of California and Oregon and Washington, doing like Northern California, all of that stuff, because I think the West Coast is so gorgeous. And also going to see like Glacier that I don't think like our kids will experience in 10 years because it might all be melted. And yeah, taking advantage of that because Mother Nature might not be the same.
Yeah, like, for sure.
10 years.
But what's super cool also, Hannah, is you just described this story or this road trip, 12 days going on this adventure, and you've set up your life to have the capability of doing something like this. And this is something I want to unpack. So we can start with the butterflies. We're looking at a painting or a poster from Iconic, Brandon, kind of the connector of us three. And that was our initial connection, was through the Social Butterflies and Brandon bringing you on the team there. But now you have your own gig with Awake, and you're thriving. You have the freedom, the flexibility to do what you want, and still execute on the things that you love, which is awesome. So mad props.
Hell yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that.
So we should start from the beginning. I guess we jumped right into, like Andrew said, we jumped right into like your road trip because we needed to address, but the what was kind of like, so you're from Sioux Falls originally. What's kind of like your journey to the Twin Cities, and then beyond that, getting involved with Brandon, and then now with Awake, like what's kind of that journey? I'd love to hear it.
Yeah. I grew up in Sioux Falls, left and went to Mankato for school. Started like at MSU not knowing what the hell I wanted to do. Surprisingly, if you guys can imagine it, I was going for elementary education. I don't know.
You'd be pretty kick-ass. You'd be like a second grade teacher, like totally. I could see that.
I don't know, man. My patience level, I think like the way of my style of teaching, because I love teaching. I've realized that like I love giving people the experience to learn something from me. But yeah, when it comes to kids and people not understanding something like that's so simple would be very hard, I think. But going back, I went to school for LEd and then knew I didn't want to do that. Like I just knew in my soul. My sister was a LEd teacher and there's a couple other teachers in my family. So it was the easy route to go, just to pick an answer. But then I switched my major multiple times. I switched from that to social studies, like history education. So I think US history is really cool. I had a US history teacher in high school that was just awesome. So loved US history, and then went from that to management. And throughout this time, and like also throughout a few of my years in high school, like entrepreneurship has always been something that I've strived to do. Like in high school, I would buy these fake Yeezys when Yeezys were like really big and just becoming a thing through like Alibaba, about like 10 pairs of these Yeezys for like $60 a pair. And they all, like, the weight of them were nice. Everything was great. And then I ended up selling them for like $120 a pair, sold them as fake Yeezys, no false advertisements there. Because at the time it was pretty easy to get away with that. But I just love the idea of making businesses and seeing other people, like Shark Tank, to be one of those people like, hey, that inspired me to be an entrepreneur, as cheesy as it sounds. 100% did, because you see these normal people just doing incredible things, just like you guys. Like, you guys are some average guys doing awesome things. So I switched from management to marketing, because I'm like, that's what's going to really set myself apart, is how I market whatever I decide to do. So I stuck with marketing throughout the rest. And then I actually had an internship with College Works Painting. You guys familiar with College Works Painting?
No, I'm not.
Negative.
Okay, so it's basically an internship where they set you up with all the tools you need to run a successful painting company. And that's all they give you. They give you a territory then, and then you start in February and you go door to door. And you start building your leads. You start doing estimates. You have to build your team and so on. So it's basically just building a painting company from the ground up.
And this is painting houses over the summer.
Yep, painting houses, like outside, painting houses.
I've had friends do this. I know what you're talking about. This sounds electric.
Yeah, it was electric. Like, it was the best experience of my life. It definitely was like real world business, like where 5% of businesses succeed and 95% don't. So like, it was a group of about 30 of us in Minnesota, all from different areas like Duluth, the Twin Cities, Mankato, St. Peter, all of the cities in between. And you would just see so many of these interns struggling, but it was really, really cool to, like, that was the first time I would say I really saw my efforts come into like something bigger than I could have imagined. Like seeing other people like, hey, this person did this. Like, the reason why I did it was because they were telling me this person sold X amount, and if you can do that, then you're going to go to Cancun, you'll get $20,000. Like, they'd sell the hell out of you, and you just get so amped behind all the cool things that could possibly be there. And you hear other people are doing it that are the same age as you, in college, like same background. And so that internship definitely set me up for success, I think, when it came to just everything in business and like wanting to do more. And it was actually funny because when I first met Brandon, I was coming out of that internship, and we found out later that he was actually a painter for one of the College Works painting internship people. So it was really funny how that kind of came full circle.
That's a story that's going to be told again and again later down the road. What's funny, before we get to the Brandon part of the story, what's funny about those businesses, like the painting ones and like the Cutco knives, it does really, I mean, at the time, like, you think it's like the coolest thing, and it is, because it offers you like the chance to be scrappy and work towards, like, the business is brilliant on their end. Like, they give you the tiers, and then you have to work harder to get up in the echelon, keep moving up. Taking a step away, it's like, oh, it's a pyramid scheme. But at the, like, your ability to get crafted inside it for the time being is awesome, and it's a really good job, like during college, right out of college, because it's offering you that scrappiness. And if you want to be an entrepreneur, it's giving you like foundational pieces for sure.
Yeah, I was doing that like my sophomore year of college, and it definitely, like, what was actually crazy about this specific one was like the interns made the most money out of almost anyone in the company, like, because it was crazy. Because we later on were pitched to be DMs, like the top people were pitched to be DMs. So it was me and 4 others that were in this group called the Go Big Club. And they really try to sell you to be a DM, which is being the manager of all of these interns. But you're only as good as your interns if you're a DM and you're putting in 10 times more work. So it wasn't a good fit. But after seeing how DMs were played played, I was like, it would be more smart for me to be an intern again to make more money there.
Yep.
Yeah, it was an awesome internship. I learned so much. I actually ran into my old boss from College Works on my Yellowstone trip because he's on like a year-long adventure around the nation in his car. So definitely working
Super
with
cool.
like-minded people, which I also love, which I'm super pumped to be in our office with you, Andrew, and the 6 others, because being around like-minded people is like so key, especially I feel like in the age we are now, like we're still growing and learning, and you are who you hang out with. I believe that's so hard.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 3 weeks into working, and I talked in the secret HQ, and I talked about I talked about it a little bit last week on a previous episode, but I am just so energized walking in there every single day. It's a breath of fresh air having just like Devin, who's doing something completely different than Jeff Cole, and then different from Antonio and I, and then yourself coming through. Like it's so cool to have each mindset after something common, which is something a little bit bigger than themselves, giving back a little bit, and then doing it for internal gratification as well. It's super cool and very motivating.
I just want to say that I know where the secret HQ is. I'm not going to say it, but I know exactly where it is. I could pinpoint it. I'm just saying, dude, if you guys start pissing me off and potentially excluding me from things in the future, I'll spill the beans, dude. I won't hesitate.
You're always invited. You know the secret. You're in on it.
You're in on it, dude.
Yeah,
Come on.
I'm in on the secret, dude. Ever heard of it? But no, it's funny because Jordan Woodruff, who's our podcast guest on the last episode, she was talking about the same exact thing about how like it's so fun and so fruitful to be around like-minded people. She was using like the example of like content creators and just people kind of in the digital space that have similar interests. Like that's very similar to us in terms of like just people who are hustling towards some sort of entrepreneurial venture or something that they really give a shit about. I think that's really what it boils down to, and that's really why I love like this Backpocket community per se that we've built the last however many years, almost 5, which is crazy to think about. But like it's cool how intertwined it is, but it's also cool how like once you introduce someone within the community they've never met each other, like how they just become instant best friends because they just have they're like on the same wavelength. So it's just fun, like really just staying in the present with that exact like feeling. I love where you guys are at in that little secret HQ, because I would love to be just fly on the wall with the energy in there.
Yeah, no, I think there's something to be said about just the energy in Minneapolis. Like the people in Minneapolis, like our age demographic and everyone that's connected in the web of like you guys, Butterfly. I just saw Tyler Bishop today and like everything that he's doing. Ike, like I just got introduced to Ike, and me and him have been buds and getting coffee here and there, sending each other voice messages. Like, and I just met him like a month ago, and it's just crazy. The energy specifically in Minneapolis is unlike any other energy I've been in like so far in life. And I feel so lucky to be around these people.
Yeah. And I have a hard time describing it to people that don't necessarily see it right away. And I was talking, Antonio does see it, but I was talking to Antonio the other day about like being in Minneapolis and how I have like a future here. Like I intend to stay here for quite some time. I don't have plans going anywhere else as of right now. And Antonio was talking about, I'd love to be in Atlanta. He's been there a few times now, and he's got like this curious approach to what's happening in Atlanta. And I was describing why I love Minneapolis so much. And I was like, I don't know if it's because I have been able to navigate and find the right people, and other people like choose to be complacent, because you can very well be content in the typical Minneapolis culture with the Fortune 500s and all those job offerings. But I don't know if it's because of how I've been able to navigate, or who Deck and I met right in the beginning. But the people that are being like vigilant, if you will, of like not going the status quo, they are now herding together, and that's the coolest thing to see. Like I even saw Lisa Evanson, who does stand-up comedy. She won funniest person in Minneapolis in 2020, and she was working out. Angie Ocon was training her. That was like one of
I
the
saw that, dude.
yeah, like those two, they were podcast guests of ours in 2019. I'm not sure how long they've known each other or not, but seeing them intertwine is like another cool moment. It's like, geez, we like the butterfly back pocket. It just runs deep. It runs deep.
It really does. It's really crazy. I know butterfly was always so much more than just like a job. Like it was such a culture. Like it was such a culture. Like we identified as butterflies. Like it was an identity. It wasn't a job. Like, yeah, that one was for sure, like, I would say one of the most incredible couple of years of my life, like being involved with those few guys. Like I was the only girl on the team, which I loved. And everyone was around the same age, and yeah, the butterfly crew, I miss them.
So we had Brandon Polzuk, founder, and Ian Deloney. Was he a founder, or he was one of the early hires?
Yeah, early hires, graphic designer.
And then was Jake Hoffman and Joe, were they in pretty much the similar time frame as well?
Yeah, Jake actually was like he was probably like the first, I think, with Brandon.
Okay.
And then Joe was recruited on, I think, after Ian. And then myself and a few others, Alex and Sam. Yeah, it was us, all of us. We were the crew.
God. How did you find your way into that job? Like, what's the story arc there?
So I met Brandon at a job fair at MSU. He was tabling out there, and I don't really know what I was thinking at the time. At the time, I don't think I had a job at the time. There was a semester, that was the semester in between my internship with College Works Painting and the winter, because I was in some programs. So I think that's why I didn't have a job then, but was ready to pursue something. Didn't really know what I wanted. Knew that I wanted to do something with Facebook ads, because at the time I started this fitness account, Hanex Fit. Some of you guys might know me, specifically the butterflies. And I was like, okay, well, I have this fitness account. It'd be awesome to learn Facebook ads if I ever wanted to launch like meal plans or like exercises or even grocery lists, like something simple. So I wanted to learn Facebook ads, and I saw them and I could just relate to their brand. Young, creative, doing cool things. So I remember handing Brandon my resume, which is so funny because I don't think he would ever like take a resume. Like now, if you would ask him in his career, like, would you ever take a resume or would you just have a conversation? I don't think he would look at a resume. But I remember we were talking about College Works Painting, and he could relate on that. So he was like, I'm going to fold this one away and we'll talk later. And we ended up talking later. And I explained kind of the position that I was looking for, and he was able to fulfill that right away. And I was working right under Jake Hoffman doing Facebook ads. So I did Facebook ads with Butterfly for like the first half of the time that I was there. So like for 6-9 months, I did Facebook ads under Jake. Yes, and I learned a ton.
I remember going to Starbucks in Ford Parkway, St. Paul. Jake and yourself, I think you were a couple weeks into the job, and Caleb and I were coming in because Jake had some questions, and I was a new hire for Caleb, his only employee at the time, and you and I were like just sitting there wide-eyed, like trying to like take in as much information as possible.
Wow, yeah, that must have been the first time that we met, and I totally forgot about that. I thought for sure the first time we met was at Lincoln Drink, but
it was those were like hilarious. Roughly like similar time frames, I think, maybe.
Yeah. Yep. Nope, you're totally right though. Yeah, so I loved it. I love Facebook ads, and I loved that for a long time, but I'm such an extrovert and also wanted to express my creativity in other ways. Like I love numbers and stuff, don't get me wrong, and spreadsheets and analyzing and all that stuff, but I definitely like having conversations, strategizing, like that type of stuff. So I remember I think I approached Brandon and basically just told him that, because at the time we also needed an account manager. So I was like, hey, listen, like I'd love to dip my toes into that aspect. I think I could really crush it. And he gave me that position, which is so awesome. Like to have a boss, first of all, like if you're working corporate, you could not go and ask your job for a new job. Like that's just unheard of. So like shout out to Brandon and being super flexible with all that and just basically delivering everything that his employees wanted and needed. It made such a healthy environment for us. But yeah, then I switched over to account management, started working with clients and did that throughout the rest of my time there. So for the last like year and a half, that's what I did. So it really set me up in a really good position to understand almost everything in the business. And Brandon also had me come to all of his client meetings that he would have and everything else when he was getting new business. So I feel like I got a lot of practice with everything he was doing to run the business, like even showing me the back end of things. And he was working on stuff with MJ, the owner of Unreal, and was walking me through some different things just about the business, which totally set me up for success when it comes to my business right now. So I'm super grateful for all of that.
Yeah. And I think we spoke on this at Bochella actually, but
yeah, we did.
And which is very funny to have this conversation at an event like Bochella, but it was coming. I guess I never really realized it. And it doesn't really get talked enough about. And it's this aspect of just like Brandon is such a giver. Like the guy is so generous and he's so like willing to help like his friends succeed. And you and I relate on that heavily, like me in particular with the whole iconic shoot and future iconic shoots. But then like for you and Awake, when Brandon decided to close the doors, he spoke about it on actually the podcast I did with him a few weeks ago. And he spoke about how like when he closed the doors, he basically just like handed off all of his active clients to you because you wanted to start Awake. And I just like thinking about like how important and crucial that would be, like that probably has been for you. I'll let you speak on it obviously, but like just like the generosity and like the willingness to like help another friend succeed from Brandon, like that will never get enough attention or recognition for something like that he did, but he just did it out of the goodness of his heart for a true friend and a grinder in you. And I just think that's one of the coolest things, honestly.
Yeah, no, it was super awesome. I feel like pretty lucky because of the fact that I was the account manager for all of these clients, that they really truly built the relationship with me. I was the one talking to them every week or so. So they knew me as the person and they were going to be without any marketing. So at the time when Brandon like told me that, hey, we're going to be shutting down Butterfly, at first I was like, it would be pretty awesome to just go like all in on a specific brand and just think of so many new strategies and content and all this stuff. But then I started thinking bigger picture on like what I actually want to be doing, which I actually want to be doing is starting like a bunch of businesses with the people I care about and making their passions and building just this empire together. I think that would be super awesome. And so I'm like, why wouldn't I take this opportunity right now to take these clients and do exactly what I'm already doing? Like I'm already doing it. Why not just keep doing it? So yeah, it was really awesome that Brandon was A-okay with it and the clients were more than happy to move forward with that too. So that's been really cool. And now that I'm doing my own thing, it's been really fun to start to realize that it's my own thing and I can do like whatever I want with it and go whatever direction I want. I don't need to go in a specific direction to make it successful. I can change it up whenever. And I think that's the most fun thing so far.
Do you have do you have interns or coworkers?
Yeah, I have one girl on my team, Allison. She's more so like my assistant / content manager. She really just does a bunch of content for most of my accounts. But I'm trying to expand her role a little bit more just to give her a taste of everything. She approached me actually through a DM and just wanted to get a drink like Q1 when I started the business at the beginning of the year. And at the time I was like, I can't really offer you anything. right now, just because I'm getting started with a business and I don't have that income to pay another person. But it's crazy what the power of a DM can do, and just asking someone that's doing exactly what you're doing and just putting it out there and asking, because it ended up being an awesome connection and we have a ton in common, and she does amazing work and has learned so much. Like, prior to that conversation, she had no experience with the Adobe suite, had no experience in online marketing at all, and she's just crushed it since. So I'm super pumped about that connection and having her on my team. And then I also work with Tyler Webb, and
Classic.
just yep, I was gonna say Andrew used to work with him, but he's great. And I hope that I can add some more people on my team as I continue to expand. But as I've gone throughout business, I realized, like, I want to go in different directions, and I don't know if I need the team to really do that, or if I just need to utilize the people I have right now in different ways. So yeah, it's been a ton of fun.
Yeah. Real quick, one of the things I'll never forget, Caleb mentioned to me a couple months ago, actually, like I'd say the turn of the calendar into 2021, he started hiring a couple more people. And I was kind of like curious on these hires, like we don't need these people. And he was describing how I'm bringing these people on and into the team because that's where I find the most fulfillment. I want others to share this passion that I have, to train them, to bring them up, and hopefully, provide that meaning that I have in my own business, and now someone else can also see it. And when he said that, I was like, oh, that's super cool. I hella respect that. And I mean, Deck and I are starting to experience that with Backpocket as well. I know at Active, Daniel and Antonio are shining in that regard with like 3 or 4 recent hires that they've had. And now you're being able to see it right now as well with training Allison, someone who didn't know anything, and now she's like actually crushing what she asked to do. And that's like, at the end of the day, it feels like could be more rewarding than crushing it for a client. You're able to like train someone, and now they are like,
Totally,
they believe in this thing that you've created as much as you do.
100%. Yeah, I admire that aspect of the business for sure.
The way we grade or like evaluate our hires or like our growth is Christmas picture every year. Like how much bigger is your Christmas picture going to be this year compared to last? And it was like last year we helped start the Straight Candid podcast, and so like we added them to the mix. We had 2 or 3 interns that we brought on, Marcus, Lauren, and Jeremy. And then that was it last year, right, Andrew? Am I forgetting it? No, I think that was about it. So this year it's like, holy shit, we added the host of the Day Night podcast, Taylor Flood. We added
Ben Sarbacker.
We added 2 producers strictly for Straight Candid. Straight Candid has an intern. So it's just like, it's so nuts to see. And then we hired another producer as well, that we met like a little bit before
Maya.
Coachella.
Don't sleep on Maya.
Don't sleep on Maya. She's also highly grossing in the podcast production department.
She's highly grossing. I forget how many people we have in our quote unquote back pocket. We also have 3 interns that run this memes page called Wildly Average.
Yes.
Yeah, I follow that page.
Yes.
I love that page.
So we're not really sure what we're doing with that page, but it's growing.
No, we do
rapidly.
know. We do know. Give them the announcement, Andrew.
So Deck and I, tentatively, our plan is when we hit 10K, and I'm not sure exactly the steps, but to make it our merch page. And delete all the posts, and then drop like Wildly Average merch, like new stuff for Wildly Average, because we kind of have some average Wildly Average shit right now. And then Decky's gonna start his own merch line, a little RV life, Decky West Coast, Mullet Man. I'm gonna tap into the Mars scene, and the Mars is the destination to Mars, and that's the plan. Am I hitting it right, Deck?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's going to be I think it's still going to be a meme page for the most part, but we're going to just incorporate merch once we hit 10K. Now, Instagram just changed everything up again. So they're taking away the swipe up after 10K and they're adding a sticker tab
really?
thing. Yeah, that breaking news. I heard that the other day. It's coming up in the next couple weeks. So like the 10K thing's kind of irrelevant. But like the fact that our model was basically have a rotation of interns on a posting schedule, find TikToks and then post them to Instagram Reels and then just do that over and over and over again. We've literally built a audience bigger than what Backpocket technically is in terms of Instagram followers, in a matter of
4 months.
What is it? No, we started it when, like
March, April.
March. Oh wow, 4 months. Cool. Wow, didn't realize it was that quick. So, we kind of just proved a fun model, and now we have like a page that has like some insane engagement. So, yeah, sell some merch to them, and it's gonna be just our playground. And I've had this concept forever to just do like memes on shirts, because I think you can just like everyone like buys clothing based on like hype. Like I'm literally sitting here with like a shirt that is Craig Angles holding a beer after someone threw it to him on a run, and he's got just like the most immaculate run or the most immaculate mullet. We just had a kid on 2 weeks ago who runs this company called The Harrier, and it's literally a clothing brand based on this exact concept of like triple down on running culture. Anything that happens in running culture, create a shirt off of it. Barstool's done it for years, but like that model can be replicated. And Andrew and I always have like so many awesome and fun shirt ideas, but we just never like, I don't know, we never like actually commit to anything. So now this is just going to be a fun outlet now that we've built like this dumb audience from an Instagram algorithm.
Let's go. Yeah, no, seriously, it's pretty crazy what Instagram Reels can do in terms of like growth. I can totally relate to your whole experience with Wildly Average. I'm working on the mom brand. We sell diaper bags, but right now we post relatable parenting content. So if you go to the mombrand.co on Instagram, we pretty much just post a bunch of relatable mom content. And then we've also sprinkled in a little bit of design to make it look relatable to moms and make them want to follow us. And we grew the page to 24,000 in the matter of, just a few months. And because one of the posts just went completely viral, like over 20 million views on this post. And so yeah, it's been pretty crazy to see that growth, and then hopefully what we can convert into sales once we actually get the bags. So yeah, I have Allison doing that, and then my girlfriend is also doing some posting on there because she's great at finding the good TikToks that will go viral.
Shout out to Delaney. I was able to talk to her at Coachella as well. Another, chance. Yeah. Why are we having like
business moves being made at Coachella?
Cool, yeah. But we were talking about you, Hannah, and how just impressed we are of like your work ethic and what you've built for yourself. And that's really awesome that you tapped into the mom brand. I think what you did there is something that Deck and I have yet to figure out just in Backpocket's entirety. Of picking a lane inside like what is wildly average and then just going all in. Like, is it just like average golf memes? Is it like like drinking things? Is it what is it? We can't decide, and we just post like the things we find funny. So we can't like, we don't have a niche to pop off in. It's more so just like a bunch of random stuff.
Hey, that's okay.
It's okay.
It all encompasses together though.
Yes,
what you guys are doing.
You picked a niche and you crushed it, and now we're both sitting here thinking about how are we going to make this profitable, and that's what's really cool off of just an algorithm.
Yeah, it really is. Like the power of building a community, I think, is really the whole point of like the mom brand and Wildly Average is building the community, and I think you can really do that if you play your cards right with Instagram versus any other platform. I think Instagram is the platform to actually engage with the audience and build. I feel like a lot of people like are over Instagram, but I'm like, if you're a business and you're on Instagram and you're talking to them correctly, like you could really build a solid following of supporters. And it's not like TikTok where you swipe and forget it as soon as you swipe type of thing. So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with it. I just bought all the bags earlier this week, and they'll come in October. So if you know any moms, tell them to follow the mom brand, subscribe for daily relatable mom content, and monthly blogs. Yeah, I'm excited.
Are we looking for like young moms? Are we looking for moms that Andrew and I have who are seasoned? I'm not going to call them old, but seasoned. What's kind of our target mom here? Because I don't know if you know, Hannah, but we're very pro mom. We've never said a bad thing about a mom on this podcast ever. I swear by my mom. You know,
Uh-oh, Decky.
Oh, he was gonna hit something too. I knew he was.
He was. He hit something, that's for sure.
That's funny. Hopefully he comes back here in a sec.
No kidding.
Did you see on Instagram that let me read this thing. Someone sent it in the Slack channel. After testing, Instagram launches ads in Instagram shop tab globally. So just like further indication that Instagram is going to become an e-commerce platform.
Oh yeah. I mean, you guys have the tab where it's the shopping tab on your Instagram, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I know sometimes they roll out different features to different like users.
Profiles. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, they're definitely, I don't mind it though, personally. Like, I think it's kind of nice. I don't mind though ads, but maybe that's because I'm in advertising and marketing. Like I love seeing ads personally, depending on the product, but I like them.
I don't
mind it.
Yeah. And I mean, the people that don't like it are getting ads that they don't like because they're not clicking on the ads that they do like. If you click on the ads that you like, you're going to get more of them because that's how the algorithm works.
Right.
People don't know that though, Andrew.
I know.
The only way you go shopping now is you just click on shit you like when you're on social media. You don't go out and hunt for anything anymore. That's what I've learned.
Yeah, that's exactly how I do it.
Let them tell you what
that's
you
the hack.
want. So
life hack.
That's where I'm at. But yeah, it's interesting how like the whole the only way you can like stay on top of this whole like social growth and social media shtick or just part of like a part of a business and community building is just like being on the platform and understanding like where everything's going and just kind of understanding the general flow of information or how you've experienced it. Like for us, it's like TikTok's obviously like the best for like top of funnel, just like being seen by the masses and then using that like extra push to like direct them in the right way. Cause like going viral is something that everybody in this world will have by the time they're 30 if they post something on TikTok regularly, like honestly. So what are you going to do with it if it does come your way? You know, like, are you just posting dancing TikToks and all of a sudden you get one that just hits like 1 million and then you're just going to be stuck with doing whatever else, you know, like, or do you have like a business or a direction or a thing that you want to like focus? And I think that's where like an Instagram comes in. Like Instagram's linked directly to your TikTok. If you are doing the same thing you've been doing on your TikTok, people are going to follow you on Instagram and then you'll be able to actually interact with them on a genuine level or a more genuine level. And and that's a closer reason to when in the mom bag sense, like to make a sale. So, you know, there's that aspect to, you know, all these different platforms that are coming about, or I think they're the smartest thing to do is to leverage them, right? Like TikTok isn't trying to disconnect from Instagram. They're actually trying to do the exact opposite and try and tie themselves to it. And the platforms that come about in the future that can do that will probably succeed.
Right.
Jack, you were gonna drop some heavy knowledge, some good cheese, and you got lagged on us. I'm just curious.
Some guy named Luis Bajo just called me on my phone. I'm connected to my hotspot, and when someone calls, it cuts out my Wi-Fi. So I don't know where I cut off, but I may have cut off at what moms are we trying to sell bags to? I think is where I was at.
Yeah, you were saying. Yeah. You were talking about, you know, pro mom podcast. You love your mom. Your mom's a staple in who you are.
We're seasoned moms. Oh, we're not seasoned, not us independently, but like we have seasoned moms, and I'm sure like my mom's not falling for some, you know, bag because, to be honest, she's probably bought 50 of them in her life. So is this the bag for her, or are we going for like a younger mom who's maybe seen a mom bag for the first time? You know, I'm just trying to understand our audience here.
Yeah, no. So these are going to be moms with like newborns to like 9-month-olds. So the bag converts into a changing bed. So the
Oh,
ideal
damn.
mom is moms on the go. So moms with newborns on the go. I gave one to my sister and she brought it to Houston when we went out there and we used it a few times, but the back unzips and pops open into a changing bed. And I remember seeing this video that went viral in March on this specific bag. And similar to when I was selling the Yeezys, I wanted to find a product that was down a niche, but building the brand more so than just doing like the drop shipping method, which is just not as personal. You're not really trying. It's more just like a pump and dump type store. And I found this bag and I was like, wow, I really like this bag. So I ordered one to see just the quality of it and everything. And I really liked it. So that's why we went with the bag. But so no, it's not for seasoned moms. It is for new moms or moms with newborns.
I like it.
Right.
That's gonna be the main staple. But I will say, seasoned moms will eventually pick up on it because they're grandmas at this point.
Oh
And-
my God.
Exactly.
Yep, and then they're gonna grab it because they're having their grandchildren running around, and grandmas are always gonna be at the park watching over the kids while the parents are at work. So that will be the side pockets. You're gonna get like the low hanging fruit from the grandmas.
Yeah.
Yep, you're not wrong about that, actually. I
I would,
appreciate that.
I would probably, as a consultant, I know like we're having you here as a podcast interview, but as a part of Backpocket Consulting, I would say this would be like your third or fourth focus group to focus on, because seasoned
Okay.
moms become grandmas who have capital, and I think we can really triple down on that. So
You're not
something to
wrong.
think about.
That's some free advice. I'll take it.
Yeah. And the grandmas, their kids are young moms. So it's just like, it's so obvious. Like this is the circle of life that we're talking about here.
All right. I'll have a specific
I'm all for it.
I'll have a specific ad set for that.
And that's when we come in. We'll talk to the grandmas because as everyone knows, we're a pro mom podcast, but we love our grandmothers.
That's right.
Yes, and that's a staple of the Back Pocket, being a pro mom podcast. Another staple of the Back Pocket is asking our core questions. And our first one is the average quality. So Hannah, I believe you heard this a few times through having Brandon, Ian, Joe, some of the other butterflies on the podcast. What is your average quality? What is something that you do well at times, and other times not so well, and you deeply care about it? You're trying to improve at it every day. So Hannah, what is your average quality?
I would 100% say communication. That's been something that I remember when I was at Butterfly, like an early little caterpillar, I looked up to Brandon in that sense, where he could jump into a meeting in 10 minutes and know exactly what he was saying and just own the conversation. And I was like, dang, I want to get to that point where I can just own the conversation. And I think I've definitely climbed up that ladder of being more confident and knowing what I'm saying, talking the talk. But that's something I definitely still like choke up on my words and say the wrong thing. And sometimes I have no idea what I'm talking about, but I just keep talking. And I think a lot of people can relate with that. But I would say that's easily the number one skill I focus on the most, my most average quality.
Yeah, we were just talking about the other day how like we'll never, like we've gone back and listened to like earlier episodes, like episode 1 through 30. This kid hit us up the other day, wasn't it a review on our Apple podcast? That
Yes,
was, Andrew?
it was a review.
Which, by the way, if you're listening and you haven't reviewed on Apple Podcasts, like please give us a appropriate star review, preferably a 5, and give us a review. Love to hear from you. But anyways, we got one the other day, and this guy had just found us and had been listening from episode 1 through, and he's on like 36, and he's just fallen in love.
God.
And he's fallen in love, and he's got 290 more episodes to go. Like he's got a lot of ground to make up, but he's just having a blast listening to us. And I was just like, God, like we sounded like idiots back then, like we sound like idiots now, but like we were terrible communicators back then, and that's like a focus of ours too. I mean, we literally focus on how we speak. And when I edit other people's podcasts, I'm like, I wish I could sit them down, like I wish I could like tell them, don't just roll into the next thing after you talk, like end the point, then go to the next thing. So I can chop the social clip and then go on to the next thing without it sounding dumb as shit. But there's so much to it. And I love that you picked something that's like, it's something that can always be improved. You can never be like the best speaker in the world. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or
and
best communicator.
And it's like another reason why I love it so much is the idea that like communicating is one of the core qualities of an account manager, right? Like you recognize that you're getting better at it. You've seen other people do it and you want to improve at it. And you're okay saying, I'm not where I want to be. I want to get better. That's simple. Yeah. And that perspective wins 10 times out of 10 versus someone like bringing an average quality into our conversation and saying like cooking. And they're just like, oh, I just like, I'm not good at cooking. And that's like that's all the substance behind that they have on their answer. But like you chose something that you like, you notice is something, or communicating is a huge part of your job and you're good at it. You're probably great at it, Hannah, to be honest. And you want to be even better. So kudos to you. Good answer. That's a back pocket core question. Well done.
Speaking of back pocket core questions, can we talk about Bochella real quick? I just want to hear like how your experience went. Obviously, like you're kind of a poster child for our the sunglasses sponsor.
Yes.
They threw you up the other day. I thought that was freaking dope.
I was pumped about that.
Yeah, Garrett had a sick shot of you. But like, how was that? Because was that your first time attending Bochella, you and Delaney?
Yeah, first timers. Yeah, I got actually a whole crew from Sioux Falls to show up. So there was like, I think 8 people from Sioux Falls that ended up showing up, and yeah, Delaney, her sister, my roommates, and then a couple others, and we just had a blast. It was such a good time. The boat ride went by so fast. Like, it was pretty crazy how fast it went by. And my last notes on that are do the food again. The food was like cherry on top. I wasn't expecting it. I didn't know that it came with a buffet, so I don't know if I just missed that in the advertising, but it was like so great. It was awesome.
That's so good to hear, because what Deck and I have realized about being in the event space game is, we're charging a hefty sum for everyone to attend the event. How can we surprise them with like different things and just add value, and they don't even realize that they paid for it? I mean, we said like it was in our description, like all you can eat buffet, but we don't really like push it. It's not like come to our boat party because there's an all you can eat buffet.
There's food.
Yeah. People show up and they're having a great time. They're out in the sun, and then they're like, "Oh my God, I'm so hot. What's else on this boat?" Oh, there's the second floor is enclosed, has AC, and has an awesome buffet. And then the T-shirt at the end, sponsored by Unreal.
That was a win.
Huge win.
Whoever designed those two, chef's kiss. They did a phenomenal job. Like, it's not a lame shirt that you don't want to wear from like a free shirt that you would get is typically one that you probably aren't even going to wear. Mm-hmm. And this one, like, I've seen all of my roommates, Delaney, her sister, everyone wearing their shirt. Like, that's the shirt they picked out to wear. And I love that.
Fair. That's really good to hear. We put some man hours into that one for sure.
Yeah. That salmon pink.
Yeah, the salmon pink was just a great move on our end. Executive call. But yeah, when we were working with MJ on that, actually, like, to talk about that kid's hustle is like on another planet, like with that, how that kid operates. Like the whole coordination behind that entire deal and rolling that out, we never hopped on a single call with them. We were in a group chat on text the whole time. Like, had calls kind of planned, but like we had, we dropped the ball a couple times. Like, we had to reschedule a few times, but like legitimately from April, May, when we started talking about it, to the carry out of the event, like literally never had a phone conversation with them, and still haven't to this day. Like, I would love to, like, I kind of just want to hang out with them at this point.
Oh yeah, you have to go golfing with him.
Right. He loves golf. I think that's my sneaky hot take. Where I think Unreal's going is they want to be a full-time golf brand eventually. But
Yeah, well, I'm happy that they found their niche because I think that was one of the hardest things for them for a little bit was they were being everything to everyone, which I think can work. But now they've really gone down the golf route and I think are just absolutely crushing it. And I love what they're doing.
Yeah.
MJ's such a good leader too. I like to talk about him, but I could go on about that. Great leadership from him.
Great leadership. Sprinkling the Vikings now too. I mean, that merch.
Yeah, that's unreal.
So
literally.
Sick. It's so sick.
Yeah.
Another thing with those Bochella shirts. I was out at the basement bar 2 weekends ago, and this dude was rocking a Bochella shirt, and I was gleaming. I went up to him. I go, "It's a killer shirt, dude." He turns around and he goes, "Dude, you're the guy that did the thing."
Oh my God. You guys are the dudes that did the thing.
did the thing, dude.
You did the thing. Oh, it's so funny.
So fucking dope.
And then again, we were out at there's this karaoke bar down the street. I'm blanking on the name. But these three girls come running up to me and it's like, again, they're like, you were the guy that did the boat party. And I was like, yeah, I'm the Bochella guy. Dak, I need you here, man. I need you to share in these moments with me.
You're famous. You're famous moments.
I'm hearing of these things for the first time. No one's saying this out in Arizona, dude. I compliment a guy on his green grass today. That's about all I got.
Yeah.
I was pretty stoked about that. I was running by and this one guy in the whole neighborhood. I mean, we're in the middle of the desert, not a sight of green color anywhere. And this man has the nicest green grass ever. So good. And he finally showed his face outside his house for the first time. And I happened to be running by and I looked at him and I was like, dude, that's some green grass, man. Good for you. And just, exchanged some good words with him, but nothing about Bochella, unfortunately.
Hey, the grass is always greener though.
Hey, always is. Sorry, I cut you off though. What were you saying?
I know the other thing with the t-shirts, Hannah, do you know a Connie Miller? I think that's her last name.
Name's not ringing a bell. Should I know that name?
I was hoping she was part of the Hannah crew because I just sent her a Bochella shirt. She didn't get one to North Dakota. You're South Dakota though.
Yeah, South Dakota. Big difference, man. Big difference.
Big difference. My bad.
God damn it, Andrew. What the hell, dude? So I gotta ask, this might be turned into a back pocket core question because I was kind of thinking on this. We've been asking these core questions for a while. We may need to switch it up a little bit. So I'm introducing it here.
Yes.
Question for you, Hannah. What is your future on Mars?
Wow, that's a loaded question. My future on Mars looks. Is it like a list? I get to bring 3 things or?
Yeah, you could say my future isn't on Mars. You can even go that route if you want. But if you have some plans, we'd love to hear.
I mean, if we're speaking actually, could I ever move to Mars? No, I could never be one of the first people to sign on the list and move up to Mars. But my future on Mars looks like living in the mountains. This is when I'm 30, because that's when I think I'm on Mars. Is probably when I'm around 30. And Mars, thank you. Mars is the peak of my life when I feel like I've made it a little bit more. And I'm living in the mountains and I'm going on hikes every day. I'm waking up between, 7 and 9, and I'm just enjoying nature, and I have good company around me, and hopefully my cats. That's what Mars looks like to me. And some really good food, every single day. I'm a huge food person, so wherever that may be, but all the good foods.
Are you expecting any strife on Mars?
Strife, definitely my vocabulary isn't that mature.
It's not for me either. My coach used to scream it in our faces, and basically it means adversity.
Well, I'm sure Mother Nature will give me a little bit of shakiness here and there, but outside of the bugs, I might need some bug spray. So that's the adversity I think I'd face. But if I'm out in the mountains, I'm by myself, and hopefully at that time, a wife and my cats.
Nice.
Yeah, it's
I like
no
that.
adversity. Life is good.
That question rocks, dude.
that was a good question.
That is going to be a core question. That just made me so happy, Dak. Oh, and Hannah, your answer was phenomenal.
They took it philosophically, which I love.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's the purpose of Mars. Oh, yes, to Mars we go. Question, Hannah: will there be kids on Mars? Are you expecting to be
Yeah.
okay? This is like I was going to ask this with the mom brand. Are
Will
you
be the mom brand on Mars?
No, I mean, are you excited to have like you got the two mom approach? I'm not sure you had that conversation with Delaney. You don't need to go on like in depth on it, but I'm just curious, like how.
Yeah, she's gonna love this.
Yes, is that something that you've been talking about, or like what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we've definitely talked about like all of that before, and we both for sure want to have a kid of our own, like with our DNA and going through the process. But that's totally not in the near future. My sister, who's 8 years older than me, just had a baby, and I love my niece so much, but I love her from a distance because I don't want that responsibility yet. I'm way too selfish with my time right now to even think about anyone except for me and my girlfriend and my cat, who doesn't really need much. So yes, in the future, but not anytime soon.
Logistically, just like because I'm very naive to this entire process, but I'm very enthused by it. Can you like create like? Is there any way to extract like Delaney or yours DNA to create another human?
You know, actually, in Europe, they're working on figuring out how to do that with rats right now to produce from two females. So that could be really interesting maybe in the next 8 to 10 years when we're thinking about having a kid. But as of right now, no. So like similar to how my sister actually got pregnant, is through IVF. So IVF, they basically create the baby in a petri dish and fertilize it first outside of the body. And then once it's fertilized, they put it back in and see which one ends up winning. And then you have a baby. And that's kind of how it works. So that's the same process that we would go through too, most likely.
Do you get to like pick your DNA? And if so, what kind of DNA are you looking for? Are we looking maybe like more of an athlete, D1 scholarship, don't have to pay for school, or are we looking for more like a artistic savant, emotional kid?
I think I would like a mix of both, you know. It's not bad to be a little mix of both, you know.
Good answer for your future kid listening.
Thank
honestly.
you. I know. I hope so. I'm going to be happy with whoever they decide to be, but
nice. Another good answer. We'll clip that one. We'll clip that one out.
Thank you.
Clip it, put it on the reels.
Clip that.
Did not expect to be asked that question tonight on the podcast.
Yes.
So let's talk about kids.
Well, dude, we just a good friend of ours, Alexis Walsko. She's the founder of Lola Red PR in Minneapolis, and she's had twins, and like I think she had it from an embryo, which is just like wild. And I don't know anything about it, so I can't speak much more on it, but like 2 healthy twins, boys, which is just so cool.
That is so cool.
I just didn't really like the possibilities are endless is what I'm finding out. And I would like to know like who's good cop, bad cop, if we're gonna talk between you and Delaney.
Good cop, bad cop. She would definitely be good cop. She's a kindergarten teacher, so she's got that like in her blood. I do not have that in my blood. That's where I lack is patience. So I would say that's another average quality I have is patience. Yeah, so good cop, bad cop. I think I can be good cop though too, because I just feel bad sometimes, and
nice.
At the end of the day, I give so much of the benefit of the doubt to people, and sometimes that can hurt me, but you just hope that people are always good.
Yes. Well, another cool moment here that I'm processing. You found in Delaney what you necessarily didn't have, what you didn't find in yourself, and that being a elementary school teacher. That's pretty cool.
That's right. I know.
Yes.
Gosh, you make me emotional, man. No, it's been super awesome. everything, like her support with everything that I do and what she wants to be doing. And her future aligns with everything that I want to be doing. And I definitely think I scored a good one.
Sick. So another question going off this, because, you know, season 2 of the Date Night Podcast is coming up. We have yet to score a full episode dedicated to gay females.
Yeah.
And I really want that to happen, and we need your help. So, like,
Okay.
if you have a few people, we don't have to list them here, but like, I just wanted to voice, like, we're going to need your help going into season 2 of the Date Night Podcast.
Okay, absolutely. Yeah, we'll have to chat offline about stuff, because I definitely have my arms extended into multiple of the gay communities in the cities. So that
Cool.
could be really fun.
Okay. And then another thing that was like brought up toward like our way, but we don't necessarily know how to handle it because, like, you know, again,
I know where you're going with this. Is like a bunch of several people have mentioned this to us.
Correct. Yes. Andrew and I are speaking telepathically, and we're asking about like a bisexual episode. So, like, if we've heard that bisexuals have preferences, so like if we were to mix them up with a girl and the guy within the same episode, it may be very obvious one way or the other depending on their preference. Just curious if you had any potential insight on this to help us make a better decision.
I really don't, honestly. I mean, you could have, I don't know, that one's tough, because at the end of the day, I personally view like sexuality on a spectrum. I don't think like it's 50-50. Like bisexual is not 50-50. Like you definitely lean one way or the other, in my opinion. And same with like anyone in life, like guys that say, oh, I'm all straight and whatever. You can tell me that you can look at another guy and say that they're attractive. Like, it doesn't mean you want to do anything with them by any means. Like, same way as I view guys, like I can know a guy is attractive, but I know that I don't want anything more than that. So I view sexuality on a spectrum. So it'd be interesting to be having like a fluid episode or something, like people that identify as that and not one or the other. Because I think that the term like bisexual can kind of have like a negative appeal to it. So I'm not sure how to navigate that one. That one might be tough. Might need to talk to a couple more people, interview people maybe that identify as bisexual.
Yes. No, you're exactly right. Because having the conversation with people that have brought this to our to the forefront, I've been trying to figure out what is the best way to set it up. And I think you're hitting it on the head with more like gender fluidity, people that are like very comfortable. Like it's not 50-50, and they're not like just saying they're 50-50. They understand the actual like spectrum. Yeah.
And we just don't know enough about it either, so that's why we gotta ask.
Yeah, and you never know, there might be people that are super open to like either nominating their friends and whatnot to make it the right people being in the episode. But yeah, that will be interesting. I'm excited for season 2. Me and Andrew, I was bugging him about it actually today, asking him when it was, because I'm super excited about it. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we're we have some things to just like dial in on the back end of things, but I mean we're excited to replicate and amplify the buzz that we left everyone with for season 1. And it's just like,
yeah,
it's going to be, you know, it's just, we've done so many things over and over and over again that we know that like the season 2 is always just better than season 1, assuming that we execute the way we want to. Your second time, you're always, the biggest improvement is between 1 and 2 of anything that you do. We've always said that. And season 2 of the Day Night Podcast is going to be something else. Seriously, it's just going to be so fun. I'm excited just to like share that with kind of everybody in the Twin Cities and just to see how this thing freaking grows, honestly.
Yeah, I'm stoked. If listeners haven't watched Date Night Podcast yet, you should go watch all the episodes and just binge them, because it's totally worth it. I had my roommates hooked on it, literally watched every episode. I walked downstairs, she's still watching it. It's
I
really
remember
good.
that. So okay, so talk me through, because like you were there in person for a lot of the events, and then you also like the first day we like blasted everything off, like you had one of your roommates like you said, like binging the episodes. So just kind of talk me through like if there's any feedback you'd have either from the event in person or just like from the show in general, like viewing it online, because those are two entirely different experiences.
Yeah. So we went to a couple of them in person, and I was really hoping to hear it, but I know why you guys weren't doing that. So I would say if it could, I don't know. Because it was hard to watch it, like be there in person and watch it and listen to your headphones. So that'd be the one thing to figure out how you could make it work for the people that are there just for that and that they want to listen to it, whether it's like having like little speakers like at their specific table, or I don't really know what that would look like. But having that experience where you can watch it as if you were there, like watching it just on Twitch. But outside of that, I mean, I can't really think of anything else to add to it. I think Taylor does an amazing job at like carrying the conversation and asking interesting questions that get people on a deeper level. And like, you can definitely tell based on those deeper questions if they're vibing or not. And I just really think Taylor does a great job at mediating the conversation. So outside of that, I really can't think of anything that I would change right now anyway.
Yeah. Couple things that we're looking into right now is we're thinking of just like releasing the podcast in like a weekly or bi-weekly format. So we're trying to build out a team right now to be able to like produce the entire show in a week and then drop it every single week after we put it out. That gives us a little bit more fluidity in terms of like who comes on the show. So like it would make a lot of sense to drop it as like an entire season if it was more like The Bachelor, where the cast of characters remains very similar throughout, which we honestly, we just didn't know what we were getting into. So like that wasn't really like, we didn't understand that at first. So that's what I was asking about, like this bisexual episode. Definitely gonna have a gay female episode. I think the gay male podcast, or the episode 5 of the date night podcast, by far the best one in my opinion.
Yeah,
like
I think so too.
So good, like so good. But I think just releasing it as like this rapid fire of just like people going on dates and just pitching it that way would probably get a little bit more buzz, just based on like how we had like legitimately 1,000 people watching the like streaming the Twitch week to week. So we're pretty stoked about it.
I'm pretty stoked about it.
Yes, coming to your ears, and more than likely in December, January, end of 2021.
Winter is coming.
We'll just say winter is coming. I like that better. Gives us a little flexibility.
Gives a little flexibility, yeah. As we're speaking on the back end of the show, not knowing when we're actually going to drop it or where.
Yeah. That's enough. Yeah, Hannah and I were talking about that today too, between bringing Grays into the picture as a potential spot. But one more core question for you. I know we're getting late. We're getting into the wee hours of the night. What is in your back pocket, Hannah, when pressure becomes stress and anxiety is rising?
So I thought of a couple things for this one. But the first one that comes to mind is Hakuna Matata.
Nice.
Like, don't worry,
So
be happy. At the end of the day, like, you're living in the present moment. And if you know what you need to get done, like, don't stress about the future. Like, you know, you can get it done. Just make a plan for it. If it's planned out, you know that you're getting it done. So why stress about it? So that's really what I use at the end of the day. But I'd also have to give it to my support system, like around me. That was another thing that kept coming to my mind with that. I'm like, when pressure becomes stress, like when shit's really hitting the fan, like I'm going to call some of my best friends and just get some support, like tell them or letting them tell me to breathe and relax, and just having those core people around me to also ease the stress. And then exercise, like just going to lift some heavy shit. That always releases some good stress. So those are my 3 answers I kept circling back to, but yeah, those are definitely the core.
I think it's pretty cool that you have 3 different outlets, or just like 3 different like automatic go-tos to like get yourself out of the situation, or not out of it, but like get yourself through the situation, and to be able to like come out in a positive way to kind of reflect on why you even got to this pressure and anxiety to begin with. I think that's like something that we don't talk about enough, is like okay, you're in the pressure you're in the very high stress situation. Like, are you there because you chose to be, or are you there because like you made a mistake to get yourself there? And sometimes it's a mixture of both. And I look at that a lot, just being on a freaking construction site and seeing how the evolution of me going from like a normal 40-hour work week to 60, 70, 80 hours. And I'm like, okay, how do we get here? Like, why are we doing this? A weird thing that I've taken and applied to like a back pocket, why it's so important to like plan ahead instead of just like throwing yourself at the wall the last week before something you think is due. But even beyond that, I mean, I think it's cool, like the fact that you have a mechanism to focus on because of past experiences. Like I was talking to my sweet girlfriend Christina about this and how she was going through like a stressful period of work, and she's like, is this just, it's like, what do you do like when you're an aware individual and you recognize that you're having like a bad day? Like, is the rest of the day going to be bad, or like how do you turn it around, or like do you sit in it, like, because the rest of the day is probably going to be bad because you're still going through it, but like how do you maximize that? How do you like go, how do you like pivot it, I guess? And it comes back directly to this like question. So I love what you're saying, honestly.
Yeah, no, I attribute a lot like to Google Calendar. Like, because that's where most of my stress comes from, is like getting my work done for the most part, and like having enough time to do everything that I want to do. And also having enough time to do the things that like I need to do to stay sane, like exercising and just being a normal human, functioning human. Yeah, Google Calendar, if you're not on Google Calendar and blocking out your time, like it'll change your life. I totally recommend it. Because then you also see how much time that you have with all the white space. It's pretty crazy how much time a lot of people don't utilize and think that they don't have. And I'm like, but you do have some more time.
Yeah. Someone asked us a long time ago on the podcast, like, oh, how do you find so much time to do everything that you do? I was like, do the math. Like, that's the best way to do it. Like,
literally, seriously.
Put it in the Google Calendar. Let them do the math for you, quite frankly, of, oh, I got, meetings from this time to this time, or everything. Like, you can take it down to every second of your day if you wanted to.
Right.
And shout out to Google, not a sponsor, but doing great things and organizing our life, honestly.
I will always shout out people just doing great things. Google Calendar, I talk about probably at least once a week, and I am not sponsored.
There you go. Throw it on LinkedIn.
And Decky and I use Google Calendar. That's how we know what's operating in our own life. Like Deck will have like golf round. On
no, you'll have golf round.
Oh, come on, you've done it too.
I did it because you did it, and I booked.
I put everything in there,
dude. One time I booked a meeting during Andrew's golf round, and he was like very strict, hard, like never do this again type thing. Like he's like, hey, I'm not gonna be there for the meeting, and also never book a meeting if I have golf in the calendar. Thanks.
Don't disrespect the golf.
I'm playing Highlight 9 Twilight Tea Time in September. No one's fucking stopping me. That was what I got from that. So.
Oh man,
that's fantastic.
Welcome to the back end of the back pocket.
That's how it works, dude.
Hannah, one more question for you before we wrap it up. Who do you think we should bring to Mars? Like, who? The Back Pocket is a production company now, and we're looking to produce podcasts. We're looking to scale people's voices. Is there someone that you see in the Twin Cities? Doesn't have to be, actually, I want to take that out. It can be anyone in the world, because Deck and I have the capability of doing this now. Who do you think needs a podcast, and who should we go after? And if you can't think of someone right now, we can talk about it offline. But this is a question that Deck and I are really leaning into right now to try to continue to leverage our services.
That's an interesting one.
Another way to think of it too, to give you some more time to think about it, is like, I think honestly, like Andrew and I started doing a lot of like consulting, as I'm sure you're familiar with, in terms of just like the consulting world. But like we're we're finding like we know a lot more about podcasting and then including into like branding and different things like that, and how like a podcast could be a honestly, like the people that sign up for our service, like I feel like the podcast, they overlook the podcast because it's just like another means and methods. Like they look at it kind of at the same light of like an Instagram or a TikTok or anything, but like we're getting good at like just growing brands. So if there's anyone that like needs to grow a brand, even like you can go even further out than just like a podcast. Podcast is part of growing a brand in our model per se, but it's not the only thing. So it doesn't even need to be a podcast. Someone who's just like stoked on it.
Right now, I don't think I can think of anyone at the tip of my tongue that is already thinking about it, but someone that comes to mind is my good friend Hannah Beatty and her boyfriend Stone. And
his first name is Stone.
His first name is Stone, like
all right,
like a stone.
Nice. Oh yeah, wait, you're big into crystals, dude. I saw your post.
Yeah, I am a huge into crystals. We found a bunch when we went to Yellowstone, actually.
Righteous.
Yeah, but Hannah and Stone, they're a couple, and their dynamic is just so energetic, and like they banter, but it's always like sarcastic, and one's always trying to be, I feel like, at the same level as the other, or like a little bit taller. And just their dynamic I could watch and listen to, and I could see them being really good at like, even if it was like dating advice, like ask Hannah and Stone or whatever. I could totally see them doing something like that. She's probably going to be really surprised to hear that answer. But now I bet she's thinking about it and telling herself, yeah, we actually could do something like that. That would be a good idea. But yeah, those are the only people. But if I think of anyone else, I'll be sure to let you guys know, because I definitely think I have some people that would be good at that.
Sweet. Love that. And then just kind of tailing off that question, because we're always looking for more podcast guests. Do you have any challenges of people we should have on the back pocket?
Yeah. I have a couple people. I was thinking Charlie, because I saw Tyler today and just had a super long conversation with everything that they're doing out there with the dream team.
They're about to go on tour, man.
I know, next week.
And that's, I don't know if they're coming by Arizona, but I've been talking to Timmy a ton, and there's I definitely challenge accepted. That it'd be stupid not to have that happen, because like I think Ike is going to be spilling beans here pretty soon, but isn't he going to be like going on tour with them?
Yeah. He sent me some voice messages last night and was just super stoked about it and wanted to share the news. And we were talking about it before Bochella too. And I was like, dude, you got to do it. So yeah, I think it's awesome what they're doing, but I think he would be a really, really neat personality to have on the podcast.
Right. And that just makes me think we got to have like Timmy and
Tyler back on.
Timmy and Tyler on the podcast. Like,
Tyler said when he's in town, he wants to do it in person. Tyler and Timmy's always said that too.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that story arc of like how the city of Milwaukee has just like joined CEO Charlie. It's just like so bananas. Like that whole culmination of him showing up that one time, and just how that has all turned into where all of those guys are in LA, changing lives with this kid who has more energy than I've ever seen in my life. It's fascinating, honestly.
It really is. Yeah. So go after it. I expect that.
Love it. CEO Charlie, you got it. Is he still, he was Charlie Rock. Is he Charlie Rocket now? Is that what he is officially? Because CEO Charlie was kind of more of his managing rappers day, wasn't it?
He's at Charlie on Instagram.
Yeah, that. We'll stick with that. Charlie.
Yeah,
Sup?
Charlie. Okay.
Sup, dude? Back pocket.
You'll figure it out before you interview him.
I hope so. Godspeed. Hopefully.
Godspeed. Final question for you, Hannah. What did you learn today from the moment that you woke up to when we're having this conversation?
Oh man, the moment I learned today, or the thing I learned today. That I'm gonna say honestly, because of the way I started my morning, was sleep is important.
Nice.
To function throughout your day. Sleep is very important. And last night, I think my roommate was sleepwalking, and
no way.
Yeah, she came in my room new roommate. She can probably hear me right now. I think she's home. But she walked in at like 2 a.m. and just turns on the light. And I was in a dead sleep. And I like wake up and I'm freaking out. I'm like, what the heck are you doing in here? And she was like, oh, I'm grabbing my photography stuff. And I was like, what do you mean? I don't have any of your stuff in my room. And she was like, oh. And then she proceeds to walk in and grab my backpack. And then she walks out. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, what did you just grab? And she was like, my photography bag. And I was like, that's not your photography bag. And she goes, oh, and puts it back and then walks out and leaves the light on. And I was like, dude, turn the light off. And she was like, oh man, I'm sorry. And turns off the light and shuts my door. And I remember waking up and I was like, did that really happen? And I woke up really early to give my other roommate a ride. And then I got back and I was going to crank out work. And I sat down in my bed and I was like, you know, you are not going to be able to perform today if you don't sleep a little bit more. So you should go back to sleep for another 30 minutes. And I did. And I think that was a great decision that I made, because I would have been drained by the time we were shooting this podcast. So
Nice.
folks, sleep is important.
I love that.
Thank you.
Wow.
It's a wild story.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
you guys got lucky.
It's really intense, you know? A lot of questions, honestly. Don't need to ask them all now.
Me too. I haven't even confronted my roommate.
I haven't
yet
even
about
debriefed it. So I think, you know, just to help you out, you know, we can't really answer any of these questions, but like, we'll give you some questions to take to her.
Okay.
First off, like, hey, do you remember it? Second off, hey, where's your camera bag? And then, hey, ever heard of manners when you're sleepwalking? Can we incorporate that? Can we start dreaming about P's and Q's? Something to think about.
Yep. You know, I'll ask all three of those questions. Noted.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Wow. So that's insane. Anytime I think about sleepwalking, I always go back to Step Brothers. Never wake up a sleepwalker. Otherwise you get your ass beat. So
I don't know if she woke up or not. We will find out though. She definitely is home, I think, now. So we'll find out shortly after this episode.
Okay, fourth question. Sorry. Were her eyes closed? Like, was she conscious? Does she remember it? You know, that'll be.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, they were definitely open. Her eyes were open. That's for sure.
Shit.
Yeah, because I was like, what in the world? And she just moved in, new roommate, like 3 days ago.
Yeah, new roommate.
so I was like, wow, okay, this will be interesting.
She's probably embarrassed, dude. Bake her a nice set of cookies before you bring her the conversation. We gotta take
man,
this.
I think I deserve the cookies.
Yeah, you deserve the cookies for sure.
That's a good point. Sorry.
Hopefully it's not a regular thing. That would give me the heebie-jeebies.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Christ.
I thought also you were thinking about saying what you learned today was the manifestation, what you were showing me.
Shit.
At the Secret HQ. I'll spill the beans here.
I learned a lot of things. I learned a lot of things.
You learn a lot of things in a day. I'm going to spill the beans here. I believe you made a planner. You had your goals set out for each quarter, and either quarter 2 or quarter 3, you had written down coming on the Backpocket podcast. And
hell yeah, I did.
First off, fuck yeah, thank you for writing us down in your planner. I'm honored to be on your planner. That freaking rocks. And secondly, this podcast rocked ass. This was super fun. We've met so many different times, but we haven't had a conversation at length. Rarely do you have a conversation at length to this manner, but it was awesome to hash out your story and then just also to catch up.
Yeah, no, I so appreciate you guys having me. Yeah, I really did manifest it, because I put it in there at the beginning of the year, be featured on Backpocket Podcast. And when you guys hit me up for it, like I remember when you guys were hitting up Joe and he was on the podcast, and I was like, oh man, I'm next. Me and Joe are pretty close. And then when you hit me up, I was like, let's go. I'm like, I don't know if anyone else had anything to do with this, but I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that rocks. Now I understand when I hit you up and you said, yo, the moment I've been waiting for. I've definitely got some flexibility. What time you thinking? The moment I've been waiting for has a lot of weight. That's sick.
Yeah, that's right. I wasn't lying.
Mhm.
Very nice. Would never accuse you to be a liar. God damn. That's amazing. Hell yeah, dude. Well, like Andrew said, echo the same thing, man. Hell of a podcast. I'm sure we'll link up and turn this into either another podcast or just like a real life podcast where we just hang out in person and like have fun. Because like these conversations, like Andrew said, are just like where we use this time to catch up with people that we care about. And the fact that I'm jealous that the fact that Andrew gets to hang out with you
Tomorrow, potentially.
tomorrow
Yeah.
and most days. But I really do want to see you when I get back in town. So
Yeah, likewise. And I'm hoping to make a trip out to Arizona at some point. I need to see the boys, the butterfly boys, some point again.
Yep.
And I've never been to Arizona. Like, what? So I need to be out there.
Introduce you to the iconic boys, dude.
That would be awesome.
Hell yeah, dude. And we got to get you out to Sedona. I know you're a big rock fan and all kinds of crystals and vortexes. So let's
big time.
Let's plan on it.
Big time. Noted.
Sweet.
Awesome. Thank you, Hannah.
Godspeed.
Thanks, boys.
That's a wrap.
Take care.